We can call this meeting of the Pittsburg City Commission to order. Would you join me in the invocation given this evening by Jim Sucro from the Nazarene Church?
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for another beautiful day. And thank you for the weather that we've had this fall. It just seems like every day has just been picture perfect, and we thank you for that. Thank you for your guidance and your presence. Well, this is a day that's important in the life of our nation and our community. Thank you that your son will come up tomorrow. Thank you that you are in control. And thank you that we can rest in peace in your love and your wisdom. So guide this meeting tonight with your presence, your guidance, and keep us all close to your heart. In Jesus' name, amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proclamation this evening. Lynn, would you care to join me? Office of the Mayor, City of Pittsburg, Kansas, proclamation. Whereas more than 1 million people with disabilities have entered the labor force since passage of the Americans with Disability Act in 1990. And whereas taxpayers, consumers, and workers, people with disabilities are contributing to our society and to their own fulfillment of the American dream. And whereas new generations of young people with disabilities are growing up in Pittsburg, graduating from high school, going to college, and preparing to participate in the workplace. And whereas both students and job seekers with disabilities have the right to maximize their potential by making the most of their intellect, talent, and abilities in an environment free of physical, programmatic, and attitudinal barriers. And whereas Disability Mentoring Day provides an opportunity for students and job seekers with all types of disabilities to gain insight into career options by spending part of their day in a workplace shadowing an employee as he or she goes through her normal day on the job. Now therefore, I, John Ketterman, Mayor of the City of Pittsburg, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, November 30th, 2016 as Disability Mentoring Day in Pittsburg, and encourage all citizens to recognize the enormous potential of people with disabilities and to work toward their full integration into the workforce.
Thank you. My name's Luann Collier. I'm with Wesley House, and on behalf of myself and my committee, who's comprised of folks from the Interlocal, USD 250, class, vocational rehab, we would like to thank the mayor and the city commissioners for their support. DMD is a national initiative that was started to introduce high school students and young adults to the business world. We hope to give them more self-confidence and skills so that they can be successful when they enter the business world. This is our 10th year. We've grown this event from 40 when I started 10 years ago to well over 200 people in attendance. Our event is considered to be one of the top 3 in the state, and because of that, we have business people from all over the state that come to join us and participate with us during our event. We bring in colleges, we bring in local business owners to help us do mock interviews. We feed the kids breakfast and lunch. Our seniors do tours of several local businesses or the career and tech school through Fort Scott. And so it's an incredible day. We're not only educating the students, we are educating the colleges and the business people also that you don't have to be afraid of hiring somebody with a disability. Because it is a collaborative effort, we do all of this without a budget. And luckily, the last several years, we've had the support of the Pritchett Foundation, and so they're able that enables us to continue to grow this event so that we can hopefully encourage our students to get jobs or go on to school. But if anybody is interested, we always welcome guests to come and watch and see what it is that we're doing with our students, and or have you participate. I'm always looking for volunteers. But thank you once again to the city commissioners and the mayor and Pritchard Foundation for their support.
Okay. We'll open the meeting for public input. Is there anybody here this evening to speak on any issue of any kind? If not, we'll close the public input and move to consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded for approval. Roll call vote.
Gray,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ketterman,
Aye.
Munsell,
Aye.
Murnane.
Aye.
Okay. Consider the following. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment Agreement. Consider staff request to enter into an agreement with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment in which KDHE will prepare a corrective action plan regarding the area in the vicinity of 28th and Walnut Street at no cost to the city, contingent upon final negotiations and legal review.
Mayor and Commissioners, what we're asking for in this particular day is for approval to enter into negotiation with Kansas Department of Health and Environment to support the final analysis and cleanup of the area that we're doing around North Walnut. All right. We're not, the KDH&E has come, we've studied this a lot, this whole area. KDH&E has spent a lot of time studying it as well. We have a good handle on the conditions, but we need to finalize it, go through some formal steps. KDH&E has approached us with some potential funding here, and what we're looking to do is enter into an agreement that will not have a cost to the city, right, to finalize the final analysis, the phase 1 and phase 2, some remaining work that needs to be done, or phase 1 and phase 2 analyses, as well as a remediation plan, and then once again after that remediation plan, the cleanup of that area. The goal here is to take that whole area, which is that area from about 28th Street all the way up to the TIF district, which is where Home Depot is, and to clean that up ideally to what they call residential levels, which would remove all restrictions on all of that land. All right. This is a relatively new situation that KDH&E is presenting to us, and all we're asking for is approval to enter into negotiations for who is going to take part in what aspects and who's going to be responsible for what sides of it, what side of it. What it looks like it's going to be is the KDH&E is going to, we're going to be the funnel through which the KDH&E funding will travel. We will do the RFPs and the request for proposals. We will be the overseers of the contractors, but KDH&E is going to fund it. Right? And we'll come back to you with a final agreement, of course, when we're ready. But we do want formal approval to move forward with the negotiations.
What are some of the issues up there in that area?
There were 2 smelter sites up there. One was the Weir City site, and one was the Pittsburg Short Method smelter. You can find those on the KDH&E's website under their identified site list. There's a whole bunch of information there. I could go into a lot of information about what has been found and uncovered in those 2 sites. But there was some lead and some zinc and some other issues up there. Not the issues that they've uncovered are not terrible, right? But they need to be cleaned up. To get the most value out of that land. Right now, that land has some restrictions on it because of the stuff that they have found. And we want to move toward removing those restrictions, or at the very least, taking it to what is considered standard commercial levels. Right. So that's what we're looking for.
Does that need to be done before any construction begins on
Yes.
Tractor Supply?
Yes. Well, we are planning on doing the work on North Walnut. And we would intend to use the work we're doing on North Walnut to be the area where we encapsulate the materials.
That's what you do?
That's what the intention is at this point. But part of what we want to agree to with KDH&E is a formal remediation plan, which will tell us exactly how we're going to do that. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to put it under the North Walnut land.
Okay.
We done this before?
We've certainly had agreements with KDH&E before, right? But this one is a bit different in that we're going to be a conduit for funds for them, and they're going to let us, choose the consultants and a selected group of contractors that they approve of.
There's no other questions, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm not moving.
You're gonna be there a little bit.
I'm going to be there.
Ordinance number G 1262. Consider approval of ordinance number G 1262, amending and replacing section 54-136 of the Pittsburg City Code, setting standards for measurements of excess, if unnecessary or loud sounds and noise within the Pittsburg city limits.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'm back to talk about the noise ordinance. The Downtown Advisory Board is making this recommendation, and the recommendation is a change to the existing code in 3 areas. All right, 2 of them are just for the downtown area, and one of them is to a kind of a clarification that affects all of the other areas as well. The one that affects all of the other areas is a time duration. Right now, there's no time duration indicated on any noise violations. So if if a noise happens instantaneously, it'd be considered a violation. Where the recommendation is to add a 3-minute duration to the sound ordinance before it becomes a nuisance. So the idea here is it has to be sustained at some level. Without any kind of time frame, it's very difficult to, you would be responding to any single sound. You could theoretically be in violation for one single sound that happened instantaneously and didn't recur at all. So a time duration is a good important part of a noise ordinance. We didn't have one in ours. The other 2 pieces are changes that apply just into the downtown overlay, and that is we are changing the time we're extending the time for the increased decibels to 1:30, from 1 o'clock to 1:30, right? Which still gives them a half hour to close down the typical bar times. And the other change is raising the decibel level from 70 to 80. And again, so what that means is in the downtown area, if you have a sound that goes at 80 decibels for 3 minutes, that would be a violation. Right? So those are the 3 changes. Did you want to make any other? Leah Posterik is here she's the chairman of the Downtown Advisory Board. Did you want to say anything else about that? If you had any questions.
So the 3 changes are highlighted.
That's correct.
In our packet.
Mm-hmm.
So the 1:30 a.m., I see that one, and then I see the 3 minutes. Am I missing the 3rd one?
It's on
The
the
80
level.
Oh,
from 70
got
to
it.
80.
Got it. Thanks.
I just had a couple small questions. Are we concerned about potential development downtown of new residential areas that we're thinking about and planning? How did we factor that into the conversation of the increase from the 70 to the 80? And are we concerned about that at all? Just asking that question. And then are we concerned at all, and I don't know if this is a question for PD or not, but are we concerned at all that people can use the time limit to their advantage based on the fact that it has to be in excess of 3 minutes? So I know I can see that being used to individuals' advantage to create noise or sounds that do not exceed 3 minutes for the purposes of not being subject to any kind of violation going forward. And was that a part of the conversation? And maybe I'm just being too skeptical, but just curious if that came up in the conversation.
Both of those issues were considered. Violating the noise ordinances, there's always ways you can skirt noise ordinances, and if with intention, right? So that's always presents itself as a problem. But we felt that we didn't see those necessarily being issues that we're going to experience. So we also felt that we haven't had any complaints other than with a notable exception. We haven't had other people complaining about noises downtown. And we were gonna see what our experience is with the ordinance as it's written right now. We wanted to accommodate what would be the normal process of nightlife activity in the downtown area. The 3 minutes was selected because that would, if you would had a group of people going into or out of an establishment, it might take, that seemed a reasonable time for those people to come and go. So we wanted to at least accommodate that length of time. We looked at everything from a minute to 10 minutes, and we thought 3 was about the right time. The downtown residences were definitely, that's always an issue. That is the main reason for the noise ordinance as it sits. But we simply haven't had complaints, so we didn't see that as an issue. We did talk about it. But we thought we'd be willing to go ahead and accommodate it at this point and see if we've had,
Always
based on
change it.
our experience
Understand.
based on our experience. If we found a lot of complaints, we would certainly consider going back to looking at something different.
Sure, we can always change it. I just was curious if that came up in the conversations.
We had pretty good conversation about everything. So.
80 decibels isn't very loud.
So what was the reasoning from 70 to 80 decibels? It wasn't loud enough at 70, you wanted to go to 80, or what was the reasoning for that?
It's possible, based on the growing nightlife that we see happening in downtown Pittsburgh, that a music establishment in particular could generate 70 decibels. 70 decibels is loud talking in a room. All right, so 80 decibels what we felt was more representative of that environment downtown.
If there aren't any more questions, I'd move to approve.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ordinance number G1263. Consider approval of ordinance number G1263, amending section 82-141 of the Pittsburgh City Code, fixing rates and minimum charges for water services.
Good
Stacy.
evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
How are you?
Jamie's out sick tonight, so it's me.
Okay.
This ordinance is fixing the rates for 2017. Our only difference is we're proposing a 1% increase, as we discussed during the budget process.
Next 3 ordinances are all just reflecting the 1% increase in the budget. But we need to probably take them one at a time, so
Okay.
here we go.
Have any questions? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Move and second approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number G1264. Consider approval of ordinance number G1264, amending section 82-141 of the Pittsburgh City Code, fixing rates and minimum charges for sewer services.
Same thing again, we're proposing a 1% increase on the sewer rates for 2017.
I'd move to approve if there isn't any discussion.
I'll
Second.
It's been moved and second approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 1193. Consider approval of resolution number 1193, amending resolution number 1180, establishing the equivalent residential unit ERU rate for undeveloped property rate and approving an effective date of January 1st, 2017.
Again, same thing, on the stormwater usage ERU rate increase of 1% for 2017.
Move to approve.
I second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Non-agenda reports and requests.
Bi-monthly.
Is that the only one? Did we have one? We talked about staff meeting, we were gonna do another one. I guess we're just doing one. Jamie is, of course, out sick. And I know that seeing the bi-monthly is not the same if Jamie's not presenting it because he has a flare. So to summarize, I will say green is good and red is bad.
Amen.
And there's a whole lot of green, so everything's in the green.
Looks
Jamie,
good.
we'll catch up with you in 2 months to finish the year out, but I wouldn't want to try to trump him, so. And he is sick, but we're doing well, and mainly it's because of Jamie's work and his team, so hats off to him.
Absolutely.
We had one more thing, didn't we?
Yeah, there was one more thing.
Yeah, I do have one more short thing before we.
Next Tuesday, we will be having an open house for the Mid-City Renaissance project. That's the Brownfields area-wide planning project for the area around Mission Clay. All right, the consultants are going to be presenting their recommendations for reuse and redevelopment of that area. It's going to be open from 11 a.m. till 7 at night. There's going to be all sorts of boards and drawings and recommendations and out there, and we're still going to be collecting community feedback. All right, it's going to be in Memorial Auditorium from 11 to 7 next Tuesday. All right, and it's very interesting, and it's kind of exciting to see what that area can become. So we encourage the public to attend.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jay.
Finish writing that down. All right, let me find my paper here. Executive session. Executive session is necessary to consult with legal counsel regarding items deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. Motion to recess into executive session for approximately 40 minutes to consult with legal counsel regarding items deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in recess.
You don't have any place to go, Tammy, do you?
We're back from executive sessions. No decision were made, no votes were taken. I need a motion to recess back into executive session for an additional 15 minutes.
So moved.
For matters deemed privileged by the attorney-client privileges.
Yep, so, you said so moved,
So
second,
moved.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Really gruesome.
We're back from executive session. No decisions were made, no votes were taken. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sign. We are adjourned.
Right then.
All righty then.